On today's video, I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks using the Valhalla Delay plugin. Let's get to work. And what I'd like to explore first is the digital delay mode. So that's going to be your clean delay, but we're going to use the quad delay style. So that's that little knob here. We've got single, dual, ratio, ping pong, and quad. And when you've got it on quad, you can see that 4 taps become available. And I've got a little thing dialed up here. Pretty simple sound, but it's pretty cool. Here's what it sounds like. Okay, so you can hear it's kind of, I've got it set to kind of a dotted eighth kind of sound, and I've got the delay set to 3,500 milliseconds, so 3.5 second delay, but I've got 4 taps on, and when you're using the quad mode, again, you've got 4 taps available, and if you turn everything off, you can hear that the delay gets a lot simpler. Okay, check this out with 2 taps, A and B. Okay, so you can hear we've got a little more complexity going. Here's tap C. Tap D. Okay, and we're getting more and more complex. Now, this big knob here called spacing is really important for the taps. I've got it set to 4.8%, so that is the spacing between the 4 taps, just 4.8%, so that's pretty close. Let me go ahead and crank that up to 100%. Right, you can hear that is very different. So if we bring it back to 4.8% though, okay, there we go, 4.8%. We've got things that are very close together. And if we bring that feedback down a little bit, there we go. We can do some interesting things with it. So for example, if I, instead of having a 3.5 millisecond delay, bring it back more into the 500 millisecond range, somewhere around there, check this out. Oh yeah, now we're getting a lot more into kind of reverb territory. Yeah, that's kind of nice. And I've got the feedback is set to swell right now. So if you look at the help there, it says selects whether the feedback comes from the last tap or all taps summed together. So right now it's on swell. If I change it to repeat, I'm just going to get feedback off of the last tap. Whoops. Yeah, so that's even more reverby, isn't it? All right, so let's go ahead and bring the spacing into the negative territory, which is interesting. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's bring that all the way down to negative 100%. Oh man, we're into flange territory. And if we bring up diffusion, right now it's at 0, or off, I should say. And that's one of the great things about this delay is that you can control diffusion in the delay itself. So let's bring diffusion up to, let's say, about 78%. Check this out. Whoa, now we have almost like a flanged reverb. Yeah, really nice. And if I bring that spacing closer to 0, check this out. That's really nice. Now, what happens if I bring the delay up with the diffusion that high? Let's check that out. Maybe, I don't know, let's check out almost a second. Yeah, it's really reverb-like, isn't it? But it's different from a regular reverb plugin. For number 2, what I'd like to do is explore some of the doubling capabilities of the Valhalla Delay. So you may, if you're like me, you may have used doubler kind of plugins. I'm thinking of the Waves ADT maybe, or some other doubler plugins to give your guitar sound some width. And maybe you've got a doubler pedal, for example, like the TC Electronic Mimic, which is a great pedal, by the way, but you can really get a lot of those sounds and probably be a lot more flexible with the Valhalla Delay. So I've got this delay right now set up to the tape mode, and the style right over here is set to dual. So I've got delay left and delay right, which I can set independently. Here's kind of a default sound. Right now they're set to 0 milliseconds. Okay, now let's go ahead and get a little more interesting here, where we increase the width between the two. Even with it set to 0 milliseconds, you can hear that we're now getting some stereo width. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the milliseconds a little bit. Let's bring the left to 11 maybe, and the right to 20. Let's check that out. Yeah, that's really, really nice. Now, if we bring in some more wow and flutter, which essentially kind of acts like modulation. Well, it is a kind of modulation, right, for the tape style delay. Let's bring that up and see what we get. Yeah. That's really nice. Now, remember we used the diffusion. Let's bring that up and see what we get. Hear how it kind of mellows out the doubling. You still get the doubling effect, but it's a lot more mellower and less distinct because everything's diffused. Now, one other thing in this setting that we've not really played around with is the drive, right? So drive is going to introduce some distorted or oversaturated tones into the delays itself. Let's check that out. Yeah, you can hear it on the full chord there. Really nice. It's a really cool doubling effect. And not only that, let me bring drive down. You've got the age setting, which gives you kind of an aged delay or a delay unit or tape deck kind of thing going on. So you can hear that there's more of, it's not really a electronic jitter, but it's a more jittery kind of sound. Okay, for tone topic number 3, I'd like to discuss Frippertronics. Yeah, of course you know I was going to go there. I've used this plugin several times for Frippertronics style pieces. For those of you who don't know what Frippertronics is, it's a style that, while it was not invented by Robert Fripp, was certainly popular, helped to be popularized by Robert Fripp, and he coined the term Frippertronics for some of his pieces. And at its simplest form, it's just a super long delay that you can play against to create really interesting tones and textures that kind of overlay each other. So the great thing about the Valhalla delay is it goes up to a 20-second delay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's try one that's a little bit shorter. Let's try maybe 2.5, 2.2 seconds. And I'm going to leave it set on single for the time being, and let's see what we get. So pretty cool, and I've got a little wow and flutter because I'm still on that tape mode, which is nice because Robert Fripp used a tape machine. But let's bring it up now to, let's say, 8.8 seconds, and I'm going to do some volume swells here. Yeah, so even with this very simple tone, you can hear how I'm going to start getting some layers going on. Yeah, really nice. There's a lot you can do with this. You don't have to use the tape style delay. You can use any of the tape modes with this very long, up to 20-second delay. Also, when you're using the longer delays, you might have heard my latency is turned pretty low on my DAW, and I got a little glitch there. So you may need to turn the latency up a little bit more than you might normally do. So in addition to the 20-second delay, which is really cool, you can also flip this into note mode, which synchronizes the plugin, the delay plugin, with the tempo of your DAW software, whether you're using Logic Lite like I am, or maybe Ableton Live, or whatever it might be, Reaper, whatever you've got, you can synchronize it to your DAW's tempo. So I've got a tempo here of 40, and if I run this all the way to the right, clockwise, you'll see I'm an 8-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to do one delay repeat for every 8 measures. Whoa, that's a long time at 40 beats per minute, but let's go ahead and try it. So eventually we're going to hear a repeat. We really will. Again, with these longer delays, you may need to increase the latency, right, of your, or the sample size, if you will, which, oh, there we go, increases the latency a little bit of your software. So you will need to work with that. But with these longer delays, you can really do some interesting things. Let me go ahead. Okay, we'll leave it like that. And I've cranked the feedback up to 80%. So let's see what we have there whenever it comes. And then I'm going to go ahead and also increase the diffusion. And let's see what we get. Now, let me go ahead and increase the mix up to 100% wet, so you're not going to hear my guitar, you're only going to hear the delay itself. It's nice, isn't it? You can use this. Now, this is kind of like Frippertronics, right? But because of the diffusion, you can create this pretty amazing drone underneath whatever else you might want to play. All right, thing number four, tone number four, is to use the Valhalla delay in your mixdown on your master bus. And you can use it as a tape saturation plugin. So let's check this out. I am set to the tape mode and I'm in the past era, which is going to give that kind of that darkest, most mellow kind of tape tone. The delay time is set to 0 milliseconds and I have 0 spread, no feedback, 100% width. So I'm going to kind of maintain the original sound of the mix. And I guess I better play you that mix, eh? So here is the mix. Okay. All right, kind of cool, right? And that's a piece that I might release at some point on an album, but we'll see. Anyhow, I did have a tape saturation plugin on this piece, but I thought, I wonder what it would sound like with a Valhalla delay. So let me go ahead and turn it on, and I'm going to start fiddling with some knobs here, and you'll hear me kind of make the overall mix a little more lo-fi as it goes along. So let's check this out. Oh, can you hear what's going on? So I've got some drive going on. I increased the wow and flutter to kind of make the whole thing a little wavery. You also heard some glitches, and that is from my screen recording software. I do have to say, I don't get the glitches on my computer when I'm not trying to shoot a video to demo what I'm doing right now. But it's really nice, and you can make it very subtle simply by bringing the mix in. You don't have to run 100% mix of this setting. So let me go ahead and make the drive a little bit higher, and then I'm going to start at 0% and bring it up just until it kind of sounds cool. Let's try it out. All right, come on, music. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Now if I bring the mix up, now I'm going to bring the EQ, the highs down and the lows up. That's really nice, isn't it? So just with the EQ controls, and they're not very granular, but with them, you can control, you have great control over the overall tonality of the sound. So this plugin can work really well on the master bus, and you can use it as a tape saturation plugin. So I'm thinking you're thinking, man, I gotta get me that plugin, and you're right. You do. If you've already got it, drop a comment below. Let me know what cool ways you've used the Valhalla Delay plugin. Also, I've got a playlist of Valhalla plugin demos and some other cool plugins. Check it out, and I'll see all of you on the next video.